Yay, and we're live. Yay. So,
Yay.
Hello.
I'm going to let everyone know. Yeah, so to everyone tuning in, welcome back to the Our Anime podcast. We are the Promise Neverweekly crew. We're back to talk about the Promise Neverweekly episode 4. So we have the usual cats of Smurf and Jack, and we have 17 coming back, but we also have a brand new guest, new to the podcast, Urban. You want to say hi and what you're about?
Hello, I'm Urban.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Great intro.
I make anime content on this website, and I also watch it, and here I am.
You know, sometimes like the second part is really necessary because I do get the impression that sometimes people make the content but don't actually watch it.
Oh, there's tons of guys that are like that, yeah.
Yeah, I do get that impression, honestly, sometimes from people. But
I heard the show Goblin Slayer is really edgy. I should make a video about how edgy it is.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Even I made a Goblin Slayer video for views. I did.
But you watched it, I hope.
No, it was like a 30-second joke video. But
oh, okay.
That's
okay.
I had like emojis in the title and stuff. It was bad.
Oh yeah. I feel like that would still like unironically be the best type of Goblin Slayer video. Like I would actually be down with that and prefer that compared to a serious one.
Yeah, when you looked at like the pool of Goblin Slayer videos around the time, there was not many I wanted to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like how many times can we say Goblin Slayer is edgy? But yes. I guess as many times as we can say The Promised Neverland is spooky. So today we had a pretty big episode. I guess we can go down the line. I guess first, Urban, what do you think? I know you have some cool, maybe potentially spicy opinions, so we can just start off hot.
I'm also curious about one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Urban, I'm curious. Have you read the manga at all?
I only read a bit of it. I just read a few chapters after I watched the first episode, just to get a feel.
Okay,
for things.
So we're past basically what you've read.
Yeah, no, I'm basically anime only.
Okay, cool. Okay,
like we already passed that point by episode 2.
Okay,
that makes sense.
But yeah, I don't really have anything like super spicy about this episode. I thought it was I really like. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? By the way, at this point,
yeah,
I don't know what the elephant is, so I'm curious.
Well, no, just the ending of the episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes,
that elephant, not the other one.
I forgot that this event happened so early. I was like, really? This is early? I thought it was like going to be in a few episodes.
Well, that was something I was curious about too, is because I know they're going to have to like blow through a few chapters an episode. Or like space it out in a certain way, because it's like they're adapting a bunch of chapters for like a 12 for like a
like 37 chapters, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Like My Hero Academia does about 2 chapters an episode. For instance,
that's pretty normal.
To compare.
Yeah, that's pretty standard Shonen Jump stuff.
So yeah, was this that early in the manga, or what?
It probably was, because
they've skipped a bit, but nothing too important.
Okay, so it
probably was that early, but I just kind of forgot since I like binged it all, and it's been like a few months since then.
I reread it, and 17 just finished it. I'd say this is like a really good time in the anime run for this to happen. Like, I think it was probably like chapter 10 or so in which this happened in the manga. Don't quote me on that, but
no, it was later than that. Because Krone shows up at 9 in the manga.
No, I think she shows up.
No, she shows up at like 5.
Yeah, so I think this
is
like
9.
This is
it
like
was 5. I remember I read some of
these events, but yeah, they have been jumping around. But this, I'm content with this. But yeah, I think it was the big reveal after we pestered the shit out of everyone last week, being like, who do you think is the traitor? And like,
I'm so happy it wasn't Glasses Girl. I was gonna be so mad if it was Glasses Girl.
I think all her behavior makes sense, but I think I can elaborate on that a little more next week. Because I feel like some people might be mad that like, oh, like red herring, it's obvious. Or
no,
whatever,
I like that it's a red herring.
I feel like,
yeah,
I know, but like it wasn't, her behavior makes sense. It wasn't just done for the sake of tricking the viewers. Like I can explain more.
They explained it a bit in this episode, right?
But I also, it's like you can tell like she's kind of insecure. I feel like.
Well, they said she was worried about Emma. Like they made it pretty explicitly clear, like, oh, she was worried about Emma. She knew something was up. And then
my personal headcanon is that she's got a crush on Emma. It's like I actually hadn't like considered it until like today, and I'm like, this feels a tiny bit gay.
Well,
Like, if I remember
wouldn't be
right,
too
that wasn't
surprising.
as much in like the manga, and then like in the like the hand holding stuff, like that was a little bit more in the anime, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
went to,
I'm like
most
I can
lewd
dig.
you can
I'm
go.
into this. I dig it.
Jack is really into shipping 12-year-olds.
Is it better or worse than Fate being into eating 10-year-olds?
I think it's better because
You're a bit biased in this one. You're the
shipping
one
is
we're talking about.
wholesome.
Okay,
I'm being
no one
wholesome
ships my
here,
children.
okay?
They don't ship them away, and they don't ship them together. Yeah, so I think I'm really glad with like how they handled Gilda, the glasses girl. I think like it both makes sense, but I think she worked out really well as like a great distraction from the foreshadowing they put in for Ray potentially being the traitor, because like Ray has not confirmed that he's the traitor. Norman just sprung it on him and us at the last minute. He's just like, hey, like you're the traitor, and Ray.
Oh, so it's you. I see. I understand. I get the whole thing now.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? It's like he hasn't explained. What if this is the thing to draw out the real traitor? Or what if it's like a bluff, double bluff, triple bluff?
I mean, it's definitely at least triple bluff at this point. Like
we're at like 15D checkers at this point. Like we're getting into the
checkers
galaxy game. Not chess. Checkers is more high IQ than chess. We all know this.
Checkers.
The fact that you have limited moves makes it so you have to think that much more.
Yeah.
Chess hasn't been solved, so it's technically somewhat based on luck. Checkers, you can know the answer to. More high IQ, clearly.
Yes. Yeah, this is it.
I really liked throughout the week seeing all the people saying, well, it's so obvious that Gilda's the traitor. I mean, they've just made it too obvious.
We all also see people like, oh, it's so obvious she's a red herring. It's so obvious. Well, it's like one or the other, okay? One or the other.
Yeah. What were you saying, Urban? I thought I heard.
No, I was more just agreeing with the original statement. Just that it was a bit too obvious they were trying to put her in the limelight there. So I was like, yeah, no, she can't be, and if she is, I'm gonna be angry.
Right.
Yeah.
But no,
I remember
glad
like,
it's confirmed to be Ray.
I remember like reading the manga. I kind of expected it to be neither Dawn nor Gilda, but I did not at all guess it being Ray.
I don't remember what I expected.
It's crazy because it like makes sense when you like it makes sense when you like look back at previous events too. It's like he with his personality and like how he kind of views like getting out in a realistic way as opposed to the more idealistic kind of way Emma wants to go. It makes more sense that he would be the traitor more than anyone.
Yeah,
I didn't feel the same way when I read the when I read the manga. No, I didn't feel the same way when I watched the anime. But when I read the manga, I thought it was Dawn because they didn't really. I don't know. Watching the anime makes me wonder where I got this idea from. But when I was reading the manga, I thought that Dawn was like the biggest tool. I just thought he was just an asshole, and I hated him. And I was like,
give him more like screen time. Well, I guess screen isn't the right word, but like.
Well, I think screen time works for
the characterization of Dawn in the anime versus manga is a little bit different. I don't think that he's like played as a different character in both, but in terms of like, I think the anime has so far been consistent with his manga character, but like stuff about him is revealed in like a little bit differently.
It's not like
I thought he was a bit more of a tool like at that point in the manga also.
Yeah, like I
want to say I
agree. Just don't like Dawn, but in the anime, it's like, well, Dawn seems like the anime just hasn't. Maybe it's because of his voice. Like you can actually hear his voice and just hear how cheerful he is and how he's. But in the manga, I think I always read his lines as like snarky and sarcastic.
Oh, I always took him as like a major dumbass. Like I always took him as that, like jovial kind of like. Yeah, he's the more like the dumbass of the group, even though he's not. Like he gets good scores, but I always took him as that kind of like foil to
like naive though.
Yeah, and I think it helped. In like episode 1, there was a little bit of original content with the tag game where it showed him like helping Connie that I don't think was in the manga. So it kind of shows more that he's like
the big
helpful and nice, you know, not just whatever he was in the manga. Man, I can't remember at all what I thought about the manga when I read it. 'Cause it's been a while. I'm like I don't have anything to contribute here about what I thought.
But some people still don't trust Phil. We're getting in the chat. We don't trust Phil.
Yeah,
But Phil's so precious.
Phil is
He's so
wholesome.
cute.
He's a wholesome cinnamon roll.
The real
Don't
twist is
compare
that
him to
they had it
food.
backwards.
I
so
understand
we-
where Fate is coming from because,
No.
when I see something really cute,
Oh,
it makes me want to like eat it. But you know what I mean? Like put it in my.
I'm learning way too much about everyone from this show and nothing relating to the show. Everyone either wants Mama to like smash them or they want to eat Phil. Like,
Hey,
no
I
one
want both. I want both. It's not either or.
Oh, it's I'm sorry. You want to catch them all in this situation. Everyone wants suspect things from my mind.
become a very different show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would have thrown in.
Yes, I'm sure we are the only ones who
Yeah,
want
you
suspect
guys-
things, Shaw.
Sorry. Excuse me. Please don't cut off our guest while implicating me as a suspect. It's
Oh, goodness.
yeah. Y'all are sus. Not me. Y'all are sus.
Mhm.
But
so I wanted to bring up how well directed this episode was in certain points. One
Yes.
thing that I was a little bit disappointed with in the anime so far, and maybe it was just because it hadn't gotten to the points where it did this in the manga. I loved that the manga would constantly trick you into thinking that something else is happening, and I don't know if they were skipping it or if it just hadn't gotten to that point yet. But I was like, oh man, I missed that. But
Yeah.
today I feel like we finally got it for the first time in the anime, where it has like the shots like the gang walking up the stairs, and you're like, you don't know who's walking up the stairs. Like I thought it was Gilda. I forgot who it was. I was thinking it was Gilda, and then it revealed to be Emma. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then also the shot of Gilda walking to a door, and then the note slipping through the door, and it's like, it has to be Gilda. Like, I just love how they hide just enough information from you to totally trick you. So your mind is just like filling in the blanks of what you think is happening, and then it's like, no, you're wrong. It's actually this other thing happening.
yeah.
That was really clever. Just the thing at the end, particularly with the feet at the door. They would cut to feet, cut to the thing slipping under the door, and cut back to feet. I think it was like, I think the first shot of feet was maybe Ray. Might have been. I don't know.
They did a good job of making it gender neutral feet, so we had no idea.
Everyone has the same clothes.
The same shoes.
So I always love like the manga likes to do, like the artist really likes to do that in the manga. He likes to trick you into thinking something else is happening
between panels.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
There's
I
all
was
sorts
really
of stuff like that. Like,
I
not
was
to
really
spoil.
happy. I was really
Yeah.
happy to see it happening again.
It's like
in
the manga is
anime.
playing mind games with you, the reader. So now it's the anime is playing mind games with us, while the characters play mind games with each other. So
Yeah,
that's
this is something we were talking about earlier, but I really do appreciate that the anime seems to be trying its best to adapt the spirit of the manga and not necessarily do it directly. Because again, this is just another instance of them realizing they couldn't do these kind of like fake outs and all of this like mind game stuff in the same way that the manga could, and just deciding to do it differently but have the same sort of impact. Like, I'm really appreciating that.
Yeah, me too. This is the best comment. Who can you trust when you can't trust the cameraman?
Postmodernism in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job of like really bringing in the spooky, like double, like not really trusting anyone, even the cameraman aspect for this episode. Because I did kind of miss that with so many little like I'd say jump cuts in the manga where they go between like, you know, what you would expect multiple times. So I think it's cool that they're kind of like bringing that back, especially for an episode like this with the big reveal. I think they did a really good job with that, and like even like really small things like they're in the room talking to Gilda and Dawn, and like Ray isn't sitting; he's not standing on the same level as anyone. I don't know if anyone noticed or if I'm just like looking. Into
he just like sitting way up on top of the bookshelf for no reason. I really like when he says something, it cuts back and everyone's looking up.
Yeah.
Like looking up at him. It's like, all I thought was like, that's just really annoying to everyone else in the room. Like everyone has to keep looking up to talk to you. Like, come on, dude.
But it's fun to be tall.
But he does.
I agree. It is very fun to be tall.
You don't count. You're always tall. You don't know how it feels.
Yeah, but it does communicate that whole, like, he's not on the same level as them. Like, it shows that distance between them. And
he's like looking down at like them, like he's looking down at the whole board.
Yeah.
Symbolism.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're first watching through that, it can easily just come off as like, oh, they're just doing more shit to make Ray more edgy and cool. And then it's like,
Ray's just being that edgy guy who sits on the ledge.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that, like, even though he's like the edgiest of the group, obviously, hair, personality, whatever, like he got really offended by how they're just straight up lying to Gilda and Dawn, like for someone who doesn't really care about them, or at least comes across that he doesn't care about them, and is like, just leave them at the ranch, we'll get away, like, we need to survive, fuck him. Like, he's like really offended that they're lying to them.
It might be because you notice what Crone. I keep saying Crone in my head. Yeah, but like Crone.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna call it Crone because that's easier. That's how I've always read it.
I've always read it Crone, and then when the anime said Crone, I was like, you know what? You're right. Crone. What is how that would be pronounced? Oh well.
But anyways, because did you notice how she said, if you think Emma's been lying to you, and if you notice, because like, what if Gilda starts to suspect that like they aren't telling her the full truth? Because they aren't. They're not saying that it's like demons. So like, I genuinely forget if this is like a plot point or not, because I've kind of forgotten a lot of the escape arc except for like major things, the first arc. But what if she tries to like use that? Like, what if like she uses that because they don't know the full truth? I'm going in circles now. I don't know where. Someone take what I said and.
I like
words.
I can go up a little bit on it. I really liked how their lie wasn't like, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the right details, obviously, but they had kind of the same. I don't know. The same kind of meaning behind it. They're like, our friends are being sold off. It's like, I mean, that's true. They are. But to bad people, that's also true,
Mama's
it's like, are they alive?
Demons as people.
Yeah, the mom is the one selling them. Yeah.
Hey, I accept all species.
The demons talk like people. That was weird. I wish they talked like monsters.
Taste like crab, talk like people.
Humans were the monsters all along, so we speak the same language.
I just hope that the whole lie setup doesn't turn into some melodrama. I'm afraid I don't think it will, because it wouldn't really make sense for them to be that mad, considering they're trying to get out of there and not die.
I also like that they. I kind of like. I know I have a friend who really doesn't like characters that are naive, but I kind of like how Emma called herself naive.
Yeah,
she was like, "Yeah, I'm naive, but whatever. We're gonna save everyone."
Well, I don't think she does. I think she said that she recognizes that other people would call her naive, but I don't think she really necessarily applies that to her. I mean, I guess she kind of does. But since it's usually like an insult, she doesn't like take the insult part of it, like the.
Yeah, because it's normally said when like Ray is kind of giving her shit, but like he has a good point behind a lot of it. Like you need to start suspecting people, like that kind of stuff. Like it makes sense.
I liked her reasoning. I don't know how many other people picked up on it, but maybe it's just because it was worded weirdly. Maybe I'm just dumb, but it took me a second to figure out what she meant by. Whoever the traitor is, I want to take them with me, because if we escape, there's no more guarantee of life for them. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like, obviously, there's like, nobody thinks it's safe, so obviously it wouldn't be guaranteed. But like, it took me a second to realize that she meant like, maybe they'll be punished instead of her like, oh, you let them get away, like now you're dead. But,
yeah. Yeah, like she would fully understand why someone would be a traitor to them and what's on the line for them. Like it was a cool way of showing how thoughtful she was about the situation.
Right. I have a quick sidebar to the naivety thing, because I feel like what this show does sort of differently, because I do agree that a lot of the time like naive characters can be a problem, sort of, but I feel like here the main difference is that it doesn't feel like at odds with the show's world in terms of like Emma being more trusting of people is, even whether or not she acknowledges it, genuinely treated as something that gives her a harder time, like vis-a-vis the other characters, whereas a lot of the time, like, even if it's treated as a problem, like naive characters are treated as more like normal a lot of the time in other shows, which is probably what creates that dissonance.
Right. like most of like a lot of battle shonen where they're like, "Oh, you were hurting your friend. How could you do that?" And it's like, dude, like not everyone has friends, okay? You know,
Right. And it's like everyone is that naive unless they're supposed to be smart, and like you show that they're smart by them not being really fucking naive. Like, and that's not what this show
But Emma is smart and naive.
Yeah, which is also really cool, right? I appreciate how they characterize her as simultaneously like really intelligent, but also at the same time she kind of fills the dumb shonen protagonist role.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's really cool. They
like she's smart, but she's like idealist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
you know what
also
I mean?
like, I don't know. I saw something on Twitter about how it's cool how they're presenting like her like motherly instincts or whatever. I guess I don't know. That sounds weird to say about a 12-year-old, but like,
it makes sense. Yeah,
but like
Yeah,
her
it makes
kind of like
sense, yeah.
nurturing instincts or something very positive.
You can call it
No.
like family, like
Yeah, like
as opposed-
kind of
as opposed to
nurturing,
mother.
it's like it's
caring.
I'd say it's more like older sister than
Yeah.
motherly. I would
Or
I
like
would say.
qualities associated kind of with like taking care of family and stuff, that's like
Yeah.
a positive thing, that's like a big strength of hers. So I think that's cool too. It's not just like,
right.
I don't know,
that
abandoning your
emotional
family.
intelligence that
Yeah.
she has is really
Mhm.
it's like really shown as a strength for her. But it's also I think it's good because they do like point out how she can't really be that naive. Like she needs to be realistic and like she can't just fully believe in people without, believing that people could betray them. But they're also not like undermining her maternal instincts and her desire to care for her family.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, because I think the show also just doesn't really portray any traits as like wholly good or bad. Because you also talk about like, because they mention, I think Krone mentions like Ray's pessimism, right, and that being a big weakness of his. But that's also part of the reason he's capable of like making the hard calls a lot of the time. So none of their negative traits are really, or like I guess they don't have just like negative or positive traits. They're people
Well,
integrated.
Their traits.
Krone's kind of crazy. I feel like that
What's
it's hard
her
to spin
trait?
that positively.
What's her trait that's on her file?
Oh, well,
Like, she's a bit
I wasn't talking
unhinged.
about Krone. I meant like
I
what
know.
Krone was saying about Ray.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Trio.
But, like, the
Krone
kids-
seems the most like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think she was this kind of unhinged in the manga. Like, it still felt like she was like cold and calculating and smart, and she kind of is in the anime, but it's like a lot scarier because she's fucking whack.
Well, yeah, a lot of it's voice acting, motion, timing, context. Like, I feel like in the manga, granted, I haven't read up to where she appears in the manga, so it could all be bullshit what I'm about to say. But, like in still panels, you kind of have to infer a lot. And if she's just giving like a creepy look, it could be just from the perspective of the characters. It could even just be. Yeah, it could be whatever, but like it doesn't necessarily like equal that she's insane unless she does insane things.
I think the anime does a better job of showing her like just towering over people constantly.
Yeah.
Like whatever she does, like she's very
she's
intimidating to all the characters.
She's a big girl.
Except Mama. Mama's not
They
intimidating.
did a good job with that too, where they showed that like Mama is intimidating her, and she's like a head shorter than her. Like that's kind of interesting. Is like how do you like make someone who's taller than you so intimidated? Like,
Well,
I think
that's like her boss. She's like, oh, you do anything bad, I can tell whoever like
Grandmom
that you're terrible, and I don't know, who knows.
Yeah, but they
Who
did
knows what they do to her? Maybe they could kill her. Maybe they'll eat her. Who knows?
Of Mama's presence, I am loving her voice actor. Like,
Yeah.
goddamn.
I like Mama.
So good. It makes me wanna. Almost makes me wanna like pick up Gintama again, so I can hear the voice actor.
Oh yeah, my best girl is in Gintama has the same voice actress.
But then I remember that like I don't really actually like Gintama.
You can just look up clips on YouTube. Close enough.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say this. I said in a couple live streams ago that I really liked how this series kind of plays around with a lot of the kind of shonen jump tropes that we kind of like take for granted. And I think with a lot of the marketing and presentation of the art and like promotional materials, they always present, the main three as like the main three squad. So, like, we never would really suspect Ray as a traitor because he's always been presented as, like, part of the core unit with Norman and Emma. And I think that was, like, a really smart call on, like, all of the promotional art materials and just how they frame it, you know, because, like, I don't think I would have suspected it just because I already took for granted that, like, okay, this is the main trio. Like, these guys.
Right. I was definitely the same way. And I also like how whenever they also have Ray constantly giving them advice on how to get the traitor. So that makes it like, oh, clearly he's trying to find him. And so he's constantly like, watch everyone. Anyone can be suspicious. And it just shows like everybody else. It never once shows Ray. It's just like this person's talking to Mama. This person's talking to Crone. This person's off doing whatever. And they never even give Ray his own shot.
Which
so like
is why
they
he's
never
the perfect one to be the traitor.
Hidden in plain sight, as they say.
I did like so part of the reason I said I was going to be angry if Glasses Girl was the one was because she kind of said stuff in the first episode like, oh, we don't get letters, we only have white clothes, why is all this? But like Ray is very clearly like leads on like he knows more than he knows more than he leads on. I don't know how to phrase that.
Yeah, no, that you phrased
right. Yeah,
yeah.
He knows more than he lets on.
Yeah,
but the other characters didn't seem that way at all, and they would just kind of say things that it wouldn't make sense for them to say, like even if they were trying to play the role of the traitor, because at that point, like they had no reason to be suspicious of anybody leaving.
Right.
I do want to point out, I don't know if anybody noticed in the first episode that Ray was the one who suggested to was like, oh, you could probably go catch Connie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. I didn't think about that when I was reading the manga.
Complex because like he knows what's going on to an extent, but he also like wants to bring some people with him. I think if he escapes.
This is something you should probably bring up for just like anime only watchers, because this is a thing. Because this is a thing in the manga. This show is going to be worth rewatching episodes as it's coming out to catch details that didn't necessarily make sense before.
That said, to get the most value out of your rewatch, either rewatch every episode before every new episode, or rewatch it once the season is done, or you can just rewatch whenever you want. But I think that there will always be more value for each new episode. You can go back and get more. So if you only want to rewatch it once, rewatch it after it's over.
Yeah, it just depends on how you like to do this. I know for me personally, while I'm watching a show like this that's coming out airing, if I have the time, I definitely enjoy just going back and like watching at least some of the episodes every time before a new episode comes out.
Yeah, I think when it gets close to its end, that's maybe when it would be a good time to rewatch. If you are, well, first of all, if you made it that far, you like the show.
Yeah.
Or well, I mean, you don't know.
Unless you're a hate watcher.
Can you imagine
I finished a lot of shows I didn't like.
Oh, I finished shows.
It's only one core. I mean, it's only one core.
I've definitely finished shows.
I don't like it. I mean, I'm still up to date on Black Clover, and I definitely don't like that show. So that's a lot more than a core.
Why? How many episodes is
no
it?
one drops the
66, I think, right now.
Oh my god.
The new King of Shonen.
I wish that Crunchyroll would promote this as the King of Shonen. Thank you, Crunchyroll.
How popular is it on their site right now, actually?
I wish Crunchyroll would promote One Piece as the King of Shonen, because it is.
So we got 2 very good comments. We got one from favorite call-in user Moz. Never heard of this guy before. What are your opinions on Norman's fluffy eyebrows, Moz?
His eyebrows are fluffy?
I
didn't notice.
I don't even notice his eyebrows. No opinion.
Yeah, I didn't notice if his eyebrows are fluffy or not.
Bad question.
Wait, I'm looking it up. I need to confirm. They do kind of look like. Wait, no, they're not that fluffy. Wait, let me see. No, they're not fluffy. Okay, Moz, you're canceled. I appreciate you being canceled. Then from Odds Kobe, can you tell Urban that I finished making his dinner and we need to eat?
Okay.
Please don't have children.
Don't worry, Kobe. I'll be upstairs in a little bit. Okay, buddy.
Is he named Kobe after like Kobe beef?
No, it's Kobe. Like
Kobe Bryant.
I don't know if that's why he named himself that.
It sounds like
that might just be his name.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever asked him.
Yeah, I just looked up.
Homie, though.
I just looked at a picture of Norman, and his eyebrows are like thin. They're like very thin
Well,
and tiny.
I found a picture of him, and they're more fluffy.
I'm now like searching through the latest episode to see if there's like an instance of fluffy eyebrows.
Well, I'm looking at the anime character design picture that they posted when they revealed the character designs, and it's very thin.
Do you guys feel like do you guys think that Norman, speaking of which, my guy, who is normally my icon until I become the podcast, is do you think he's coming across as like a very savage, like somewhat like intimidating figure? Not like intimidating. But,
I wish he was more, because like you said, I think in the last week's episode, I think he was the one that was supposed to kind of be the one to suggest with the fork gesture about Mama. So Norman is hardcore, man.
Yeah, because they don't.
But
I think it was good that he held up like a facade since he was suspecting Ray.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool because like it made the impact of the end of this episode really good because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
but it all makes sense.
I don't think anybody was.
Yeah, I think,
like as much as this is a reveal about Ray, it's also sort of a reveal about Norman, just in terms of like
like Norman's like triple, like he's playing that mind game.
He's playing checkers on.
Playing checkers.
He's playing checkers on a 4x4 board.
I really like Norman's actually like my favorite of the crew. Like he's my favorite character in the series. So I like that he can be both sides of like the compassionate side of Emma, but also be that like strategic, somewhat cold-hearted side that Ray has. And he's kind of like the middle ground of both of them. So like he knows when to be compassionate, but he also knows when to be like, hey fam, you're the traitor. What's up? Like
Norman's a good boy. Norman's a good boy.
Yeah.
I like Ray, but I also can't like detach Killua's voice actor from him, so I'm kind of projecting like my feelings for Killua onto him.
Sinris was like Ray's Killua alter. Like you have alter, but now you have Killua.
Yeah, I think Sinris is the one who said that.
Well, given the color scheme, wouldn't Killua be Ray alter?
No,
yeah. Because like, isn't the color scheme like the? I don't know. I feel like it goes like the alters have like super white hair, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get too specific because I thought it was funny, but I do think, Killua is supposed to be like, Killua is like the fusion of Norman and Ray's character and their character designs. So,
yeah.
But I like thinking of, I always like really liked Ray even before I knew his voice actor. But now that it's Killua, it's like, wow, this is really like trying to gun for my top spot, like top pandering to my taste. So I feel like it's an attack, but I'm okay with this.
It's an attack where everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I feel like not too much happened besides the big reveal. Like in a weird way. Like I think a lot of times in the other episodes I was like, oh, what did like A, B, and C happen? What did you guys think? But then this one it's really just the big like Norman is convinced Ray is the traitor. They don't like actually confirm it. Like, I mean, he probably is the traitor, but
and they haven't gone over his reasoning for thinking that either.
Yeah, what do you guys think will be? What do you guys?
I guess there's only one of us that's anime only
that hasn't read it, so we have to ask Urban how Ray is the traitor.
Yeah.
What do I think is gonna happen?
Yeah.
I think it is Ray. I think he's doing it for logical reasoning, and he's plans to get them out. Like it's logical for him because he does not see them all getting out there as realistic. Because I still think he does want to get out, and I think he does want to take some people with him. So that's what I'm thinking. Let's see.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't become like a bit like a villain. I think that would just be weird. I think there's
what do you think
this character?
What do you think made Norman think he was the traitor?
I don't know about that. That's something I can't really comment on because I don't remember if there's like particular moments where he suspected him. That or Norman was just suspicious of everybody, in which case he wanted to set up a trap for Ray, just in case.
That would be pretty crazy if like, if he was testing. Well, yeah, he did say the one thing at some point where he's like, I can recruit Don and Gilda and find out who the traitor is at the same time. Like he might. How long was he suspecting this? Which is kind of interesting to think of. Like, how long has he been 14D thinking this?
Yeah, or has
Norman
he
seems like the kind of guy who would be thinking that
forced it? Like,
what?
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I'm just saying that that like it's hard to say like how much Norman knows and how much was like he's been testing behind the scenes and we don't really know yet since he just gave the reveal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because one of the things I like that I've noticed at least is that like Norman always says, he always brings it back to like we can't play under Mama's rules. Like Mama is like outwitting us and we gotta outwit her. So I feel like it is almost like a legitimate game to him, like outthinking Mama, like kind of proving her wrong. It's like almost a bit more than just like we're gonna survive and get out of there with the fam. It's like we also have to prove her wrong.
I did think that was interesting too, because he was telling that to Ray, and Ray wasn't taking it too lightly.
Yeah.
And now with the context, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
One scene that I really liked that we kind of touched on just a tiny little bit was I really liked the scene between Mama and Crone, where Mama kind of undermined. It's like she totally knew what Crone was trying to do, probably because Crone yelled it at the top of her lungs in the room.
Yeah, I know she's yelling in the house.
But how she just totally undermines that. Like Crone talked about how she's trying to she's going to try to trick Mama and beat Mama, become a mom herself, and Mama's like, well, if you just do what I say, I'll just make sure you're a mom. So I'll just get rid of your whole motivation for doing everything, basically.
Yeah.
Which I think is really also, I did like, speaking of Crone yelling in her room, I liked how when she talked to herself in her room, she was way quieter today.
Maybe she realized Mama completely called her plans.
I was like, hey, look, she's just talking in a normal voice. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm glad that she killed the doll for the potential lack of doll in future episodes, because I just don't want to deal with this like dumbass Crone yelling at her doll bullshit at the top of her lungs. Like, I just don't want to deal with that.
Like, I think everything else about how they've characterized Crone has been good, but the yelling at the doll bits have just been like, what are you doing, guys?
I have no memory of that from the manga at all.
There's no doll in it. There's no doll. They added this shit. Like they had no doll. They're just like
that's what I thought when it was happening. I was like, I don't remember this at all. What's going on?
The doll was
because
definitely...
she wants to be the mom. They have to tell you that by giving her a fake baby.
Yeah, like I want to be a mom so bad. I made a fake doll and then just destroyed the doll.
But that's already like enough of the plot. If you're not clued in by the doll point, like I don't think the doll's gonna help.
Something that is confusing me. I want to point out before we derail from Mama and Crone. So Mama says she would promise that she would become mom, right?
Yeah,
she said that, but then she got mad in her room and was like, "No, I will become mom." But like,
I think what she wants is just to fuck over Isabella.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
She's like, I think she's like, I don't want you to give it to me. I want to get it myself.
I think she also wants to be the mom of like this farm. So she's like, I'm gonna be the mom here. I'm not gonna be the mom of like wherever you tell me to be mom. Like this is my house now.
Yeah, this episode it also struck me very much as like a pride thing because she did just get like shit on for like a couple of minutes. Like even if Isabella like ended and was like, come on, we could be friends now. Like it was I still think that Crone is pretty upset that her plans like fell through that hard.
Yeah, because she's not supposed to be yelling. Like she is supposed to like in theory be being very careful about her plans. So to be like completely undercut right from the get-go is probably like a huge blow to the ego.
Especially with the Gilda thing where Gilda's like, I'm fine, I just had a fight.
Yeah. Great acting on Gilda's part. I'd be scared shitless of Crone.
Kind of.
Was it great acting? It feels like she had
pretty
gave it away with her body language.
She has no poker face.
Yeah, but kudos to her for sticking with it. Kudos to her for not like caving exactly. Like she didn't really like hide it super well, but she didn't just like give up and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. She did what she could.
To be fair though, that would be like the worst decision she could make, I think. Because
Yeah.
The only hope for her to leave the farm is to not reveal that.
Yeah, it's kind of
unless she was the traitor, but
Yeah.
that might not even be confirmed now. I think it is, but what if she is the traitor?
we
What if
have
they're
like
all the
She was
traitors?
Everyone's the traitor.
What
Emma is
if,
the traitor. Trust
I
nobody,
was
not
about
even
to
your
say
mom.
that. I was gonna say that. I'm like, what if Emma was the traitor?
What if the cameraman is the real traitor?
Emma
What if
brings
it's
them off of the
just-
farm just to sell them all.
It reveals to the
What if
cameraman
it's
there's
just
actually a
reality
cameraman.
TV? Like, what if it's like, what's that one movie where like,
The Truman Show.
yeah, the Truman Show. What if it's like the Neverland Show? I'm just kidding, but that'd be funny. That'd be so frustrating. It would be like the biggest anime cock block in like ever.
I mean, it's on the level of the "it was all a dream" twist.
Yeah, but like,
awful. That would be genuinely awful. Oh my god.
yeah, that would be pretty bad.
That's a fun.
I can't wait for the Emma's actually been in a coma this entire time theories.
Oh my god. That would be so bad.
It's like the laziest fan theory. Like literally
What was
every
it?
show
I,
has
like,
the
tuned out
so and
for
so
a
is in a
second.
coma theory.
Oh, it's coma theory. That's so
Literally-
weird.
Literally every show has that.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're not in a coma. That would make me want to be in a coma in response to this movie.
Yeah, that would make me like lower my score for the manga like
Retroactively hate that.
like 5 points. Like seriously, like 5 points, 4 or 5.
It'd be impressive if they did that. It wouldn't
If
be
they
good,
pulled it
but
off.
I would be impressed that they had the balls to do that.
I wouldn't, because it's like, oh, you have the balls to ruin your own series. Great for you. No, it's not. Look at Shokugeki. I mean, let's not bring that up.
We
But
can only have one Shokugeki type downfall per jump.
wasn't Bleach a similar thing? I don't know. But
I have
anyways,
no clue.
it's like, oh,
The mantle from Bleach. Yeah, we don't need
I'm
another.
great.
I've
to
never
ruin your
actually
own
seen
manga.
an anime that ended with it was all a dream. Never seen it.
Not
I've played
yet.
games.
Yeah,
I've
no,
played
like-
games that had it, but I've never actually seen an anime.
I want to say I've seen it, but I'm actually not sure about that now.
Like, I can't talk about it because no matter what you say about it, it would be spoilers for any show.
Yeah, but I'll look it up and maybe so.
Imagine having a Promise Neverland podcast and spoiling literally every other show.
I have seen that though. Like in a lot of discussions,
We
people
promised
people
not
can
to
bring-
spoil Neverland.
Yeah,
We're keeping our
everything else
promise.
is fair game.
Everything else is fair game. We'll even spoil something not out yet.
Dumbledore was dead all along.
The Shirobako movie ends with a plane crash and they all die,
Hell yeah. Yeah, really tragic.
except for Zuko because she's unkillable. She's the best. They
Just
can't kill her.
levitates out of the thing.
Yeah. So do you guys think the show is going in a good direction, or is it like, are you still impressed and having hope for it, or do you feel like it could like jump off the railings a bit?
I was
I have hope for the future of the
I'm-
story.
Less concerned after this episode, I will say. I have a lot of hope.
I was a little worried after like last week's episode since there wasn't a lot of internal monologue, but this episode's directing and stuff that we talked about really made up for that, and with like the mind game kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, let's get back to the mind games, please. So if they continue like this, I'm more comfortable than I was last week.
Yeah, I agree.
I like where it's going. Some of my hangups are still definitely there, but yeah, I think the show's good otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's doing good as like establishing itself as a thriller. Still, I do think it has mind games still, even though
It's a horror.
it's not a horror story. Yeah,
It's got some horror vibes, but
yeah, it's
No,
like
it's-
horror
it's a
elements,
movie.
but not a horror. And even then, it's like the first episode is like got that, but I don't think a lot of the other ones afterwards have. Yeah, I'm glad we're all on the same page on that one. Good job, fam.
Oh,
Wait,
there's one
I
more
have to be
scene.
contrarian.
What?
there was one more scene I kind of wanted to bring up, which is just in context of the end of the episode. I think it's interesting thinking about Ray flipping the fuck out over, hey, let's leave right now.
Yeah, that was a good call. Yeah, because that was kind of like that kind of showed that like he was kind of going along with the flow, so to speak, but Norman was the one who's like, no, we're not playing by their rules.
Yeah, Norman put like a fire under his ass. Like he had to
He like mess with it all.
Yeah, it was like everything happening was like, okay, like he could be potentially thinking like, all right, Mama said this would happen, so okay, this is all going according to plan. And suddenly he's like, let's leave now. And it's like, wait, no, hold on, this is very
isn't
unexpected.
how we're supposed to do things.
Yeah, I actually don't remember if this is a thing, but it would be really neat if that was actually specifically to try and get Ray to be sloppy.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that either. If that is,
I don't remember that being a thing. I don't remember if that was a thing or not either. So that'd be.
I said that because of Mama. I don't think he was trying to throw Ray off. I think Norman was like. I think Norman is looking at this. At least I'm speculating this. This isn't like actually confirmed or not. Like I think Norman is viewing this as like a big game of chess between them and Mama, and he's going to do whatever he can to beat her at this game of chess. Which in this context is like them escaping. So I think that he's just trying to do unpredictable things to throw her off, and if that means throwing Ray off in the process to kind of like feel out if he's the traitor or not, that's what he'll do. But I don't think he was just because of Ray. Like,
yeah, there was a lot more chess imagery in the manga.
Yeah.
Like in the first episode when you talked about like playing chess with your body, that's tag. It actually like had images of like them on a chessboard. And there's other stuff like that. So like kind of while like the time and clock motif is throughout the anime, it's chess for the manga. Yeah. So that's kind of more prevalent.
They're kind of like specifically chess with Mama.
Yeah. Like I think in the second chapter, they showed a flashback scene of all three of them playing chess against her.
Yeah.
Hopefully that isn't like super spoilers.
I was just thinking, and again, I don't remember if this was the case or if this was a thing or not. But in regards to that Ray flipping out over the plan, I wonder if that is what tipped Norman off to begin with. Like suddenly, like he suggests something, and suddenly Ray is just really against it. Like,
personally,
that's a bit awkward. That's a bit suspicious.
I think Norman's so smart that he'd be suspicious from the moment Ray
From the moment he was born suspicious.
No, I mean because from the moment they told Ray about what happened, Ray was just like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah, no, he just accepted.
You know, so I think.
Because I
think that's when Norman started being suspicious. He's too smart to be suspicious any later, I think.
And I think that Ray would normally protest leaving earlier anyway, because Ray is the type of guy who wants to plan everything out to the last detail. So I think finding out that instead of having an extra month, you only have 2 weeks and you have to train all these, puny kids and stuff. I think Ray would naturally flip out on that if he was the traitor or not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I do think it makes his decision to take the rope at the end make more sense though, because if he had the 2 month time span still, or month and a half, whatever, how much time they have, he maybe wouldn't have told Mama that the rope is there.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he was feeling the pressure.
Although there's one thing you should
more pressured, he would have to make a decision sooner.
Yeah, that's
there's
a good
one
point.
thing that you guys should keep in mind though, and that's that Norman told Ray the location of the 2 ropes, and only one of them disappeared.
Yeah.
So
that is interesting.
So it might be.
I think he was trying to frame somebody, but
you should have tried to frame. Well, I was gonna say you should have tried to frame Gilda to mess with the audience even more, but then it's then what happened with Emma? It's that'd look dumb. So I guess it was a good move.
Yeah, because Dawn wasn't present at all, so it would make sense for him to do that.
And Dawn also has gender neutral feet, so.
That would be a really great kind of insult. You have gender neutral feet. Can you imagine your gender neutral feet? I feel it's just offensive no matter what.
Yeah, I'd take
Is
that.
it offensive or?
I'm
Because
not
it's gonna
sure.
be like,
Or is it a
okay.
compliment? I don't know.
If you're a guy,
I think
if you're a guy, it means your foot could potentially look feminine, and if you're a girl, it means your foot could potentially look masculine. But
Okay, well, I think the
around
difference.
your feet is really concerning.
I think with the feet, but then okay, I think that would be an insult to a girl because that implies that their feet are hairy. Well, for a guy, it's less insulting.
Because your feet don't look awful.
Yeah, because I feel like your feet not being hairy is something that is like not necessarily an insult. While someone saying you have hairy feet, that feels a little more insulting. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Well,
If someone told me I had gender neutral feet, I would respond with a very confused thank you.
That's
But
true.
like, I wouldn't necessarily be taking it as a compliment. I'd just be kind of like,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Like,
Avatar,
put that in the statement box.
I just had Top telling Aang that he has calling him Twinkle Toes the whole time, and I don't think Aang was too happy with that. So using that is like my
Well, I mean, just
Okay, but like
I just-
Aang actually has like gender neutral feet though. Like,
yeah, you want to talk about
For
someone
being
with gender feet.
I've definitely been weirded out by someone telling me like commenting on my feet before. It's very weird.
Really? That sounds weird.
Well, so
I feel weird right
it's not a very long story. I was at my house and my friend came over. He brought this girl over with him, and then we were talking, and I happened to be barefoot at the time. And then mid conversation, she just stopped everything. Was like, "Wow, you have really nice feet." And I was like,
That's weird.
Thank you. I think.
supposed to be commenting on my feet.
She was probably surprised, never seen like good feet on a man before.
I have no idea.
Probably what it is.
It was the most awkward thing.
You gotta take whatever compliments you can, man.
Your feet. I'm gonna tell someone they have gender neutral feet and see how they react.
same. That's a good line, honestly.
Everyone on our podcast now, everyone in the comments, tell someone that their feet looks gender neutral and tell us what their response is. This will be the new, like, we need people to weigh on
This is a
And
better
say it in
meme.
a way that makes it come off as if you're trying to give a compliment.
Yeah, make it sound nice. Don't insult them. Be like,
You're
your
like,
feet look
wow, your feet
Yeah,
are
What?
really
Nice
gender
gender neutral
neutral.
feet, idiot.
Yeah, you gotta leave it more ambiguous than that. You can't just lay it out like.
Wow, you have really gender neutral feet, man. Like,
Go ahead and tweet this at someone. This will be great.
I think just like the idea of like you have very gender neutral insert body part that's pretty good. I like that framework.
I'm
Your
feeling.
beard is really gender neutral. I'm really impressed.
I'm feeling this as our new meme. The gender neutral.
neutral chin.
It's politically correct.
You know, you're not wrong. But yeah, I guess. Do you guys have anything else to add about this?
Oh yeah,
No, I don't think
sorry. I thought this was the feet podcast.
The gender neutral feet podcast.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like everyone in the Promised Neverland is young enough. They have like decently gender neutral feet. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean they're not. There's all prepubescent.
That's
still,
what
so.
getting back on topic is. Okay.
Yeah,
Characters.
did you guys have any? It's like, yeah. Did you guys have anything else? Yeah, I wanted to like elaborate on the feet. I wanted to set the record straight that their feet are all gender neutral.
I mean, I'm
What
just
about
saying that this
Mama's feet?
conversation
Is
isn't
Mama's feet
completely.
gender neutral?
Yeah. What kind of feet does
Or
Mama
does she have dainty little?
What kind of
wooden
feet does Crone have?
Oh,
We've seen,
Crone's got manly feet.
Definitely masculine.
yeah, there's
Absolutely.
no confusion over
There's
her.
No doubt.
They're at least big feet. Like they have to be.
Well, you know what they say about people with big feet.
that they have big shoes.
That they have big shoes. Yeah.
If they
Like
have,
Sora's feet are fucking
Yeah,
huge.
just-
Like there's not even a question.
yeah, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts. He does not have gender neutral feet.
He
even
has
though
clown shoes. It's
He feels like
insane.
the Twinkle's personality, though. You know.
You know that Sora's shoe. That's not all toe in there. There's a lot of air.
There's a
There has
there's
to
a lot of
be.
hot air in his
Can you prove that to me?
Not right now.
Where did this come from?
I'm not sure if is this a better path to take than the this versus
And the
like
cannibal?
the cannibal podcast
Oh,
or
this is way better.
the feet podcast, the gender
feet
neutral
podcast?
feet versus cannibalism.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is definitely a weirder direction than cannibalism.
I feel like
Cannibalism is like relevant because
Just put
This is relevant. These are both like actually relevant because the like, oh, they look like cute enough to eat versus like you couldn't tell who was slipping the note under because their feet are all gender neutral. It like, makes sense, but we're still here.
It makes sense, but it's a weirder tangent than cannibalism, since I feel like cannibalism is more relevant. I guess I'll go with that.
I like that cannibalism isn't the weirdest thing we've discussed on this podcast.
Well, I mean, cannibalism is relevant, but gender-neutral feet is literally a plot point. So
it's a red herring. The feet are red herrings.
All right, I feel like we've run this joke into the ground.
Deeper, most likely.
Yeah. Well, I had a good time. Thank you guys all for joining. If you guys don't have anything else to add, feet, I'm like not counting feet. We've had a lot about feet.
I just wanted to say that the opening is growing on me more and more. I still feel like I want to be that negative Nance or whatever and be like, oh, well, it's not as good as it could be or whatever. But it's been growing on me.
I'm really curious to hear curious to hear the full version. That one Twitter Promised Neverland manga. That's not. I don't think that's official. I think it's fan,
no. I think it's a fan Twitter.
Right? Yeah. But they told me that the full OP comes out next month, so in February, sometime in February. I'm excited to hear that. I'm hoping it's more like the actual song, just a full version of it, not like Odd Future where it wasn't even the same song.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I want?
Fire.
You know what I want? I want there to be a sound effects OP. Like I want the last opening song. I want them to add sound effects to it. Sound effects openings are cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
With actual fire,
Yeah, and like when they like bust through.
Like it just actually sets your computer on fire.
Yeah, like the Zombieland Saga OP is dope because of that.
Yeah, but like when they like bust through like the puzzle thing, it's like you hear them like the puzzle piece go.
I don't like when sound effects are in the OP for every episode. I feel like it has to be a special thing, like JoJo, like that's the only example I have. But like Knights and Magic, I didn't really like because they had sound effects in like every episode. Well, starting about halfway in, they just added sound effects to every episode, and it was like, why are we doing this?
Why don't you make this permanent?
I feel like I'm the odd one out here, but I just generally kind of don't like sound effect OPs. It's just not.
Except for JoJo. Fun. I love them.
That's why it's good when they do it once.
Every anime,
once I think is good.
Every anime deserves the sound effects OP.
I think like legitimately, just because of how sound design works, there's some stuff that sounds really good when you add it to it. Like what I was saying with the Zombieland Saga OP, I think that's really dope because the way they mix in sounds during like certain parts.
I thought they did a good job with it for sure. I just wish they didn't, so that I could listen. So I could just like listen to it and not hear the sound effects. I could just listen to the song.
You gotta think about it this way: that's part of the song now.
Well, it's not the full version.
Yeah. Okay.
So the full version's out. I listen to it a lot. It doesn't have sound effects, but it's good. It's good. It's a good song.
Fine.
Yeah. I'm down with sound effects OP. I'm down to hear the full song of the OP and ED, but I do think the opening keeps growing.
Well, the ED's out. The EDs are the full EDs are.
I'm just lazy.
Yeah,
it's not too. It's only like an extra minute, so it's not a whole lot. But it's okay. It's good. It works as a full song. I like it.
Yeah, I really like the ED, like especially
when I first heard the ED in the previews they were putting out. As soon as I heard it, I thought that's going to be a great to cut to right after a cliffhanger. Like, right, that's just going to be great. And then they did it. This I think this was the first episode. They really went from cliffhanger straight to the ED, and it worked really well.
Oh yeah, it was good.
I actually don't remember what the ED sounds like.
It does feel like really chaotic jazzy stuff, like really chaotic jazzy music.
It's a lot of piano.
Yeah,
I like the tag soundtrack. Like I noticed that it was happening again. It was good. I want the full OST.
One thing that bothers the hell out of me, and it's not even a negative, it just bothers me.
It's a positive that bothers you.
It's in the OP. There's like a sax sample. It may be something else. It's a brass.
Oh yeah, classic sax. Yeah,
where it's just like, and I'm like, I've heard that sample somewhere. It's in old hip hop songs and stuff. Like I definitely heard it. I can't not hear
that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
The band uses a saxophone in like all those songs.
Right. Okay.
It might
So,
be
like
a
the
sample.
blue
I'm
X,
not sure.
like I mean, it could be.
It could be a sample. It could just be a recreation.
It could
I
just
feel like I've heard
happen to
that
be the same.
exact, like,
It could just happen to be the same coincidentally. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about music to say.
Whenever I hear it, it's just that I immediately need to identify where it came from, and I can't.
Right.
And I go in circles and go nuts.
And then you don't even pay attention to the episode. You're just sitting there the whole time while it's playing, just thinking like, "Where's that saxophone from?"
Where's that sax from for 24 minutes and the episode ends?
Wait, what's happening? Who? What? Race the traitor? What?
Yeah, I'm excited. This is some good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so if that's it for us, thank you to everyone for listening in. Thank you for everyone who commented in chat. Thank you guys for joining me again. Thank you, Urban, for coming on for the first time. We'll have to have you back, either another Neverweekly or another podcast in general. And thank you for everyone and your gender neutral feet. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.